and we will then crack on to our next panel session, which is going to be Next Gen Marketing is Here, Building Your AI-Driven Marketing Tech Stack. And our panelists are going to come together and share their expertise and viewpoints to help understand what the need of the hour for effective marketing is and how one can drive brand awareness with AI-driven marketing tools. And our moderator for this session is going to be Steve Dunn, Technical Experience Director at Abstract Visible. Steve, if you'd like to come up to the stage, thank you so much. And joining him is Sathish from the CTO at Zeotap. Also, Raiyan Yusuf, founder and managing director of MagnoBiz Digital Solutions. Please give them all a nice round of applause and welcome to the stage. Thanks, guys. And all your mics should be on, so there you go. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Here we go. Oh, you're all doing really well. Well done. There's always a bit of a slump in the afternoon. So if you need a cup of coffee, then feel free to grab one. But we are here today to talk about next-gen AI. I am your moderator, and I would like to introduce the speakers on my left and right. So on my left, we have Sathish. Sathish is CTO at Zeotap. Zeotap are a next-gen customer data platform based in Berlin. The company was founded in 2014, and there are currently 200 employees with clients mainly in the EU and the UK. Hi, Sathish. And on my right is Raiyan Yusuf, founder and director at MagnoBiz Digital Solutions, a Google-partnered marketing and implementation startup based in Delhi, founded just 2 years ago, and currently 8 employees with clients in North America. So I'll kick off with a question and ask Sathish, first of all, about his business. Why, Sathish, have you decided to dedicate your life or your professional working life to the customer data platform? What is the importance of the customer data platform, or CDP, to the industry? How was it important when you started the business nearly 10 years ago, and what has changed in that time?
Thanks, Steve. That was profound. I'm not sure I've dedicated my life on
assuming you work hard
on solving such big
He's
problems
part-time.
for the
He's
world.
part-time.
Okay, so interestingly, it was more of serendipity, the way I came into the data space, and the applications of data space is immense across multiple platforms, and the reason we got together from here is with respect to the marketing stack and especially the advertisement stack as well, which is, I don't know how many of you are aware, next to the stock market traffic in terms of real-time, ad tech is almost close to that in terms of the real-time bidding systems and everything. So for a person who has interest in doing some sort of good work with data and activation, this is a very nice domain to be, and that is how I started into this. And coming to the journey, it has been pretty challenging because we operate in by far one of the very sensitive market, which is the EU and UK's with respect to data. And regulations like GDPR are not going to help us in any way in furthering our data business. But that is the key challenge as an entrepreneur in terms of how we are going to build the entire stack and really drive value for your customers. And one of our taglines is 4 weeks to deployment and 4 weeks to value. And we try to live by that. And that is something which doesn't relate to somebody who comes from a pure data warehousing kind of world, where you run like a 2-year, 3-year project to actually collect all the data. And then you go back and say, hey, I have now like 4 petabytes of data or 10 petabytes of data. So what? How do you derive value out of it? So this is like a downstream question it's like a product on top of data, which will drive value. And the prime persona here whom we are targeting is the marketing organization, which is the CMO organization. So we are a feeder to whatever the previous panelists talked about, right? In terms of, I saw the omni word used multiple times. So the omni channel, whatever you want to do, we give you intelligence, we give you data. We have a omni channel collection as well in terms of getting the data. And we give a couple of out of the box AI solutions on a common models, like most people would be aware. You have the customer lifetime value, then you have something called the recency frequency models. So which are all core models for any business. So this is where our journey is, Steve, at this point.
Okay, thank you. An introduction then to Raiyan. As I understand your experience, you work a little bit more holistically across consulting and also implementation. It's only been 2 years for you in the business, but perhaps you could tell everyone why you started, and in the context of AI, of course.
Thank you for having me here. Steve introduced me very well, although that is something exaggeration, I would say, right? But yes, short-term goals that I have achieved so far. So I started my journey as a freelancer through Upwork. And, when I realized that I have a good database, then I resigned my job in October 2019. Right, then I thought to start a career. I thought to start my own company, right, in a data marketing domain, because I am expert in search engine optimization as well as PPC for all the platforms, I would say, right. Once I started learning each and everything, and afterwards I realized that data is something that is very important, because whatever the decision we are making for digital marketing based on the data only. So we need to know how we can read the data so that we can implement for further, strategy, even for content creations or anything, any platform that you can choose, right? So what is data? So data is something, I would say, let's say if I am staying in hotel right now, right? So at which hotel I am staying right now, this is also data of which cab I boarded there just to reach to this conference. This is also data. So data is everywhere you can think of, right? And the big companies, what actually they are doing, they are capturing each and every activity of yours, right? So your likes, your dislikes, your comments, each and everything that is treated as data only, right? So that's the reason, that excited me a lot, actually. That excites me a lot. That's the part of artificial intelligence. Facebook is also working, because Facebook marketing, that is a PPC based on artificial intelligence only. There is no manual intervention. You can only find, some likes and dislikes, the behavior of the people, how actually they are performing on different devices, online platforms, right? And that is actually, excited me. And I am a student of data science as well, right? So I know how actually it is working. And people are not aware about, because artificial intelligence everywhere, right? You are using your phone, there is a voice assistant. So people are getting panicked. What will happen if artificial intelligence will evolve, right? But actually it is evolving. You are living your life, in the ambience of artificial intelligence only, right? Yes, I can say that it is not that much, because this future is here. Future is coming. It's not something, it is completed, because lot of experiment is going on, right? There is a mechanical AI, there is a thinking AI, each and every, even if you will go with the media pipe, there is one blog, blog site wherein you will find there is a Google researchers teams who are actually posting their blogs on the data science itself and artificial intelligence. So you will find they will start capturing your, the expressions as well, how you stand, right? And how you, talk with the audience, with your, your colleagues or everybody. So that is also part of the data, right? And this is amazingly amazing. That is why I am, very much fruitful. And as I said earlier in my previous fireside chat as well, because I am very much, fruitful about the artificial intelligence evolvement, right? And because as a marketer, we can target the audience we can target the audience in a very personalized way. Let's say if I can capture, if Steve is here right now, right? And if I can notice Steve, how he gives his expressions when he talks to somebody, right? What his likes, what his dislikes, right? So we can, based on the somewhere, obviously some product or services that Steve needs, right? So they will go to the Google or any platform online, right? So we can capture that behavior of Steve and we can personalize each and everything based on the data that we will be getting. So it's interesting. It's actually interesting. It will, create a lot of jobs as well, because artificial intelligence, it's not evolving just to, snatch the jobs from the marketer, but it is coming actually to, provide more jobs, maybe AI ops manager, AI something else, whatever the designation you can put forth afterwards. Yeah, that's all.
Thanks,
Thank
Raiyan.
you.
Thank you. Just to ask into that a bit more, your clients are in North America, mainly, and you're clearly an optimist and welcome a future of AI-driven marketing. Would you say that most of your clients share in that optimism? And if not, could you give the audience perhaps one example of a client concern that you've worked with them to overcome?
Okay, so I guess that, so my client base is in North America only, majorly from North America, right? But Cayman Island, Bahamas, and also some clients from UK, right? So there is one of my client, I believe bedlinehealthsolutions.com, right? So he's one of the best bariatric surgeon in the United States, right?
What surgeon?
Bariatric surgeon, the weight
Pediatric
loss
surgeon.
surgery, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So he's one of the best surgeon in United States, I would say. If you will find on YouTube with bariatric surgeons, you will find, on TLC channel, there are millions of views on that particular channel as well, right? So he's the one at a start when I approached him for the marketing project, right? So he was a bit reluctant at that point in time because he doesn't know me actually, right? So how he can gives his project to me only, right? So what happened afterwards? There is one mediator between me and that particular client with the name Corbin, right? So Corbin is the one who knows me very well about my strength and each and everything. So he actually persuaded him just to collaborate with him, and once he actually collaborated with me, with my company, I would say, right? So at the start, the cost per click that was going, $12 per click, right? And I noticed this is a huge amount they are spending, and the leads, ultimately, the ultimate goal is, getting more number of leads and appointments for the bariatric surgeon, right? Then I noticed he's paying more than his competitors. So obviously the keywords quality score was very low. We can gauge the performance of the quality score in terms of 1 to 10, right? So it was coming only 2, 3, 5 maximum, like that. That's the reason he was paying more than his competitor, just to show up at the very top. And the budget was also good, right? When my company actually took over the account, the average CPC went down, by $8. Like he is paying only $2 and making an appointment more than 50, 60, like that. So we started working through, because when he started, his website was also not at that good stage. That means the website was not optimized, right? And the user experience was actually bad. That's the reason bounce rate increased, right? And I realized each and everything. I started working all around the corner where actually there was a flaws, and finally they are getting good number of leads as well, and also we are using some platforms that is based on AI only, right? That is, you can say that is a go high level one of. So we integrated the go high level so that we can gauge the performance, how actually it is, going on. And today is the time he has given me all, he has given my company all the projects like search engine optimization, social media, PPC is already going on, right? And
That's great.
yeah,
Happy client.
happy clients actually.
Yeah.
So when you make
So,
your client
I
happy, obviously it's a good part, right? So nothing makes you more happy.
I will loop in Sathish at this
Yeah.
point, who's been very patient. So lead generation, user experience, opening up new pathways for work. That feels like perhaps a nice starting point to connect you to your client base, which are primarily CMOs, or at least your points of contact in business. As I understand modern marketing, there's at least driven by a recent report by Wonderman Thompson and Sitecore, there's this division or a lack of understanding between the needs of, as Martech calls them, marketing stakeholders, CTOs, CIOs, IT stakeholders, CTOs, CIOs, and marketing stakeholders, CSOs, CXOs. Where MarTech has exploded. There are now over 10,000 vendors in the space as opposed to 150 10 years ago, and appealing to the individual as opposed to appealing to a segment. And the complexity is high. And I imagine in your role you have an understanding of the complexity, certainly from the technology perspective, and the CMO is wearing more of the hat of the consumer behavior. How do you approach those early conversations with CMOs to meet them where they are and try to convince them to invest in your CDP?
Sure, Steve. Yeah, that's a nice question. In fact, not just this kind of CDP products, any data product needs this kind of sales plus consultative approach. Because many times you will walk in and you will find that the clients themselves are a bit confused in what exactly they want. Okay, there is a certain bit of confusion, and all these regulations around privacy and other things is not helping them make that decision as well, right? So what we try to identify is, I know many people in the past panels talked about what is your end goal. Say, if I take a practical example, 2021 and up till even mid of 2022, many of the marketers' end goal was to burn budget for good amount of acquisition. Suddenly now we see that there is a complete change in that narrative. They say, I want to sustain my existing customers. Next year, even a 30% growth, I'd be in the top 1%, right? So the beauty of, say, AI or data is you can tune for both. When you want to talk about customer acquisition, you have certain data paradigms and AI paradigms which could help in that. All right. Say a simple paradigm would be a lookalike audience, which is a data science driven audience, which can create the acquisition. Whereas if you come for this thing, I want to do a churn prevention, probably there are some advanced techniques, not probably, there are advanced techniques like, say, Kalman filters. I don't want to get into techniques. I know this is not a technical this thing, but you have techniques where you could create something called a suppression, where you don't want to target your existing customers very unnecessarily with something new. Okay. So what happens is you could tune this customer data platform and the AI product on top of it to work on your top line or bottom line. So this kind of sense of dilemma which is there, or narrative change in a CMO organization, we are very agile to attack that. So this is more or less our approach in terms of trying to find out, okay, where is the budget? What is the aim? Generally, there are pretty much large aims, right? So you'll have this acquisition as an aim, because we are talking about CMO level. It's not like he won't think about in which channel I need to run the budget. He doesn't care, right? He will just say, okay, I need this much of a percentage difference, right? So at the high level, it becomes very easy to tune it. And then, of course, you need to work with each of the teams, because it is not like, as you told, it's a bit siloed organization. And the silos is not just in terms of people and culture, but it is also in terms of where the information is coming from. So you need to attach all this. So the strength is if your product can create this attachment in a closely deterministic manner. Anytime you throw AI, it becomes probabilistic, but a closely deterministic manner, you could sell a story. So this is more or less how we have been approaching it. And just a caveat here, past performance, just like how they talk about mutual funds, is never an indicator of future performance, but so far it has gelled well for us.
And putting my CMO hat on, I imagine some of the conversations you find yourself in might well be, how does Zeotap integrate with my current technology stack? How does it integrate with Salesforce, Cycle, Braze, you mentioned earlier? Do you find yourself in conversations like this often? And if so, how do you navigate them?
Yeah, so in fact, that's again, probably we are getting into a little bit of nitty-gritties in terms of how the packaging works. But okay, since it's public, I'll talk about it. So the tech stack is not same or homogeneous across organizations. If it is enterprise, you could expect somewhere around 80 to 100 technologies already there. And it is not like you can go and walk in and say, hey, I'm going to replace this, I'm going to replace that. They'll say, get out. Okay, so you have to live with what is existing. That is a very important learning. If you go to say a medium size to an enterprise company, medium size it might be 20, but an enterprise would go upward of 80, 100 in terms of the current tech stack and where they would have invested. And the investment would have been almost for last 5 years, 10 years. You don't know where it is from. Okay. But if it's a smaller company, they may not have all these things upfront. So it becomes easier. So our packaging is more towards that in terms of, okay, this is something like a quick starter, which is even an enterprise can use it, but we reduce the number of use cases. But it's a small company, you can just go for a quick starter. If it's a medium, you go for this. If it's a large company, you go for this. And of course, integration is something key for a success of any evolutionary. I wouldn't call it revolutionary. There is nothing much revolutionary happening at this point in time. Evolutionary thing, whatever you want to do, integration becomes a focal point in terms of how you're going to operate.
And speaking of integration, so you, Yusuf, are partnered with Google. What does that relationship look like, and how did it begin?
So you are asking about the tools integration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in terms of tools integration, I would say, because tools are very, helpful for the marketers, right? So let's say if I am going to do any PPC program, creating a campaign, PPC campaign for any business, right? If you have no idea how actually your competitors doing in that particular domain, so how will you how will you going to beat your competitors, right? Because every time you will feel, because their budget also matters a lot, obviously matters a lot, but again the quality score of the keywords that matters the most. But quality score is something that can takes time to improve. It's not something you can expect in overnight, obviously, because there are a lot of parameters that you have to look around, and tools integrations that will help you to know the status of your competitors. Let's assume SimilarWeb is one of the tools that most of the marketers use, and this is one of the best I have found till now, right? To look for the competitors analysis. So you can find the ads history, you can find what kind of ads actually performing, the ad copies are there already available. SpyFu is also a good platform wherein you can track the data of the competitors, be it for PPC or search engine optimization. Doesn't makes any difference, right? So also let's say if you are putting a blog content or something else just to create a backlink for search engine optimization, so if you have the data of your competitor, so you can steal the backlinks as well. So this is also one of the strategy of search engine optimization, right? So you have to look around. So that's how actually tools integrations help marketers for the better market, to create a better marketing campaign. Because without tools, it's not possible to beat the competitors. It is just, beating around the bush, right? You might win, you might not.
And on the topic of performance and reporting and feedback cycles, and continuous improvement and long-term relationships with clients, how effective is your company at relaying campaign performance statistics to your clients, making recommendations for optimization,
Exactly.
and then having those recommendations be accepted and implemented? What are the key challenges for you in getting through that cycle?
Uh, Key challenges for me, because when I started, obviously, I was at low budget, right? So at that point in time, I was not able to purchase tools, because I would say nobody should do that at the start, because it is costly, right? So I just started, and again, um, it's I would say some acumen that God has given me, so that I can read the data through analytics only, and based on the analytics, I started implementing each and everything. So analytics is also a good tool. Everybody knows that, right? I implemented all the conversion tracking through Google Tag Manager. I learned that part as well, because this is something technical. In terms of tracking, many marketers actually lacking these days, because right tracking is something you can there is separate. The website has ID and class, right? So there are a lot of things you have to do let's say if someone is there is a submit button and you want to track on that particular button, right? So there is a lot of ways, and sometimes it doesn't work as well, so you have to find out the ways. There are many ways to do that, right? So so tracking was something that was actually challenging at that point in time, but not now, because I am an expert, implementing all the tracking part itself. So I did from scratch to end, right? Now I have a team. So that was challenging, obviously, and obviously if you have not right tracking, so it is hard for any marketer to, uh, compete in highly competitive market as well. Because if you will see California, the plumbing business, right? Plumbing is something that is very difficult, because the cost per click is so high, right? More than $30, $40, right? So recently I got some projects from California plumbing, right? I'm already working around that, but recently I got 3-4 projects based on California only. And it is getting challenging for me to beat the competitors, because the budget is also low, right? Like $1,500 to $2,000, and the competitors are spending in millions and thousands, right? So for me, it is getting difficult. In fact, because all the competitor research I did, at the start you have to spend, right? For low budget, you cannot compete with your competitors. So this is the challenge that I'm facing right now.
Okay.
In plumbing business.
In the plumbing business.
Yeah.
I asked a question around the cycle of end of campaign reporting back into briefing, because it's an area of work that I'm involved in right now. So I'm consulting in an integration agency and helping to bridge their experience design effort with their technologists. And we're selling Insight Core's Content Hub to the client. The client is a local property company. So they sell and lease apartments, villas to residential customers and business customers. So the way that we've gone about selling in Content Hub, which is Sitecore's effort at centralizing everything, which has been a step in between CMS and Content Hub, is something called a headless CMS. Yeah, few heads nodding, terminology check. So broadly speaking, Content Hub is a movement around decentralization in the context of asset management, digital asset management. And my interest in that, or at least the levers that I'm pulling on that from a UX background, is this separation of content from template. So many clients are stuck in the CMS thinking, where I build out my templates with my content, and my content always sits within my templates, and that presents different types of issues. There are issues from operations. What if I want to use the same content that I've put into my CMS for an email in my paid advertising method? I have to do a bunch of copying, pasting, breakdown of single source of truth. My version control is over here, it's over there. It becomes a mess. The friction is high, and the work just doesn't move through the business as efficiently. And then the other side of that is in-market tracking. So I asked the question around reporting and bringing reporting insights back into the briefing process, because Content Hub, it's not quite there yet, but it's one step away. So you can upload, I'll put it in the context of my client, 50 pictures of a swimming pool. You're listing properties and you're running an experiment, which we should be doing across every instance of marketing. And I briefed my photographer to take 50 pictures of a swimming pool across all variants. So from the north side, from the east side, from the south side, from the west side, at sunrise, at sunset, at the height of the day, with people in the pool, people not in the pool, at different times of the year. And we test those 50 pictures of the swimming pool in market to different customers, and we see what draws the clicks. Then what's interesting is, can you bring that reporting data back into the briefing stage to then order those 50 swimming pools by their performance? So say you've tested those 50 swimming pools for 6 months. You pull the performance data back into the asset library, and rather like filtering by size of image and all those kinds of things, you filter by performance, and as a operational step, you made a cut of the least performing 25% of swimming pools, and you build that operation into the organizations that you work with to continue to optimize the assets that they work from. You're nodding your head because the role of CDP is central to Content Hub. And do you have any views on the future, Sathish, of asset management and how the tracking of text and images is set to evolve, and how far away possibly we might be from a solution like that, and where automation might be able to enhance it further?
Yeah, sure. Let's tackle it from probably two angles. One is generation of this feedback. There are some platforms which are very open about it, and there are some platforms which many marketers know or call the walled gardens, from which getting that individual level feedback on what has happened is very, very difficult. So, okay, you're drawing me closer to AI. So you are talking about image, video, and this various kind of content. So just a quick story here. Formula One, right? So they have to have multiple parameters and test it. And one of the thing is, when they have to test it, they actually need to put the human driver. Okay. Now, after multiple testing, they figured out that the human driver is actually the bottleneck in terms of quick turnaround in the testing. So what they made is they created the digital twin. Okay. Digital twin plus whatever you're calling out as the multi-parameter image and this thing, it's called the multimodal AI platforms. So that is a heavily researched area at this point in time. And I would say that
maybe Mike, but a digital twin of the driver.
Yeah. So that exactly? And this is matched together, and they are able to iterate on a almost hourly basis whether I should make the dynamics by another 1 mm smoother and other things, right? So it's like many times we just look at our domain to figure out how to solve it, but it might be already solved in some other domain. It's about keeping your radar open and figuring out how to cross position it.
What's involved in I'm taking this one step deeper, but what's involved in making a digital twin of a Formula One racing driver?
So yeah, it is based on, again, data collection of his past driving, how he does it. So you need a certain amount of past data. But as I told, even AI is involving in a more iterative manner, where instead of taking the past history of data, you could train it on a small subset And then when the next subset of data comes, you just have the trained parameters and you can augment it. Okay, so these all advancements which is coming in terms of where the AI is reaching. And to answer, since you asked how far are we from all these, it's not very far, but the only caveat there is everything costs. Everything comes with a cost. So if you have a decent, Rand spoke about the budget. So if you have some level of budget, or if you get lucky that the data is publicly available, say OpenAI has come out. So if you go and see if there are, it's a trending sensation. I think you should experiment it. There are myriad amount of use cases, starting from search engine optimizations, which you can run on top of it. Content creation. Many people thought creative AI is like far away. This fellow is generating poems if you give a scenario.
I think this is a great platform to discuss the excitement of OpenAI, and I would encourage you to step into that more. And what use cases do you get excited by, either of you?
Oh, I don't know. My head is exploding, to be honest, because it's like myriad of things are possible. In the sense, the whole generation AI is something which we thought is much far away, but this has changed the scenario in a matter of weeks. I don't know from which industry you are asking. If it's marketing, I feel that one of course, marketing has multiple use cases, but if you can find a niche category of market, right, on your particular vertical or this thing, that's called the blue ocean strategy. Many people struggle. They have a theoretical science behind blue ocean strategy, but in real world, it's very, very difficult. I believe this is one of the tool which could take a marketer towards that, to find a completely blue ocean category, and he would be a rock star. If he finds that.
To help with the terminology, your how would you qualify a blue ocean strategy?
So blue ocean is what sometime back I mentioned, that it is something somebody has never seen before. As simple as that. Currently, if you think about it, we are just drawing various experience. We are not looking out of the box because the unknown is still there. So how do you discover the unknown and tackle it, right? So that becomes a blue ocean. And many times it comes when you're on cocaine or something. But OpenAI could augment that process.
I certainly think about, perhaps this is in the context to ChatGTP, perhaps it's broader than that. The bookend of the creative process. So the very beginning, ideation, and the very end, the automation of assets. So the second one is I think easier to tackle because I mentioned it around Content Hub and experimentation. So if you can have a computer write a subject line in 1,000 different ways in a second for a particular segment, in a particular tone of voice, for a particular business KPI, then that has potential to supercharge experimentation from a dynamic content perspective, 100%. The more kind of abstract but also creatively interesting end of the bookshelf is ideation. So creative teams get together often at the 11th hour to try and crack a creative problem with limited energy and let's say creative juice, and to be able to put a brief into ChatGTP to say, I am a 24-year-old mother of two who's a professional living in Berlin. What is it like to fly? And yeah, 100 answers. And if you're working for Lufthansa or a German airline, that would be the subtext of that kind of creative brief. And to throw a creative team at 100 different variants of that particular customer, I mean, it's a demographic, so it's not too specific. I guess on your blue ocean angle, really widen the potential for creativity and support creative teams who are often squeezed at the end of delivery to complete the work. Raiyan, so over to you. The emergence of ChatGTP and the potential of these types of technologies to empower your work on your projects and with your clients? Are you having these conversations with your colleagues, or in your head, or with your computer in some way right now?
Yes. Yes, I interact with my colleague as well regarding that, AI boosted tools, right? So that we can make better decision. But yes, it's still, you have to explore a lot of options to find the best one, because there are a lot of tools are available in the market, right? And not every tool is perfect, right? Even close to perfect. So you have to I would say you have to you have to test it first, right? And then if you get the data, right, that is actually you wanted, to achieve your goal regarding your marketing projects, then obviously it would be fruitful. Otherwise, it's not, right? Because I invested in many tools, right? And at the start, I was exploring which tool could help me with this project, right? And after a month or 15 days, 20 days, it depends, right? I had to cancel the subscription because it was actually hefty amount I had to pay, right? And it was not meeting my requirements. Then after exploring, getting reviews, right, from the different marketeers, obviously, right, we we reached, to few AI tools that is actually helping us. The first one, I would say, I already mentioned SimilarWeb, that I integrated. Go High Level. This is amazing tool because if
What's the name of the tool?
Go High
Similar
Level,
web.
SimilarWeb and Go High
Similar
Level,
Web.
yeah. So Go High Level tool is something, so let's say if you have a goal of call conversion, right? You want more calls for your client, right? So the call conversion data that Google Ads provides you, I would say it's not correct, right? There is some discrepancies. So when you integrate the Go High Level with Google Ads, right, then you will be having the real-time data, how many calls that you are generating through different platforms, not only Google Ads. So you can integrate Go High Level to each and every platform, be it organic, Facebook, or any PPC platform, right? So we'll be having the recording as well, the qualified leads, whether we are getting it through or not, right? And SimilarWeb is something that will give you the insights of your competitors, and close enough. It's not something accurate, but close enough, right? So that you can make your own strategy to beat the competitors in the market if you have a low budget.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks, Raiyan.
yeah, that's all.
I have to cut you off here. And thank you, Raiyan. Thank you, Sathish.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone in the room. We, according to this big clock down here, are out of time. But I'll look to. It's hard to see it, so there's some
Are there any
sympathy
questions from
with
the
the
audience
speakers.
at this point? Yeah, do you want to come up and ask a question? Yeah, go on. Go head over to the mic there. That's great.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dindy. Thank you for the talk. It was very interesting and a lot of insights. You've mentioned all the positive impact of AI in terms of convenience and optimization. You know, as marketers, it really helps our jobs make it more easier with all the AI tools. But what's your opinion on, for example, AI generated art? Like on the one hand, it helps marketers, but on the other hand, it affects the artists with all the copyright concerns and those stuff. Since we're in a paradigm shift right now, so I just want to know your thoughts about that.
That I already told, regarding the AI tools, actually they are helping us. We are humans.
But AI art, right? Specific to AI art.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
So
AI art harming traditional art?
yeah. So my opinion is that ultimately you are the one who is actually taking decision regarding that, because there are a lot of copyright issues. Obviously, I do agree with you. So you have to make some tweaks. So AI tool, just give you the idea how to perform it. How to write a content, right? And if you want to generate unique one, so obviously you have to put your efforts as well in that. Yeah, that's how actually it would give you better result. Otherwise, if you cannot think this, if you will find the AI tool generated content is the best one, so obviously this will not help you in your marketing efforts, right? So you have to make some tweaks based on the strategy that you are making for your clients.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a semi-legal question, if you want my perspective. So this is where regulation helps you. Okay, if we have 2 minutes, I'll just give an example. The closest to AI, I keep repeating this word, probabilistic. Anything, if you put AI, it becomes probabilistic. The way probably these arts are generated is like it picks various small pixels which cannot be tied back to a plagiarization from an original artist, and it puts it together. Okay, this is the internal workings. I'm just talking about how it's happening. Now, the other industry where this kind of probabilistic thing happens and why that industry is now flourishing is the pharma industry. Pharma industry, do you know any of your medicine which you're taking, it doesn't have 100% probability it will work on you. Okay? So the FDA gives a benefit analysis, trade-off analysis, saying that, okay, if this drug is taken at this dosage, there is a 70% guarantee for this demographics of population, it is going to work. So based on that cost benefit analysis is what you're doing. So this is where the regulatory body comes and kind of puts this kind of regulation. How much of pixel stealing you can call it as stealing? Each country will have their own threshold. We cannot, it's a very high level question. In fact, if you want to get associated with governments, good, go and make it legal. And I believe there should be regulation, even for AI, to improve itself in terms of how much they are doing.
Okay, thank you
Yeah,
so
fair
much.
enough.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you
Let's
for
give
the
a nice round of applause for our panelists. Please, thank you guys for still being with us. I feel like you need a bit of a shot of caffeine. Let's do a bit of a wake-up exercise, shall we? Guys, do you fancy doing this? Stand up for me. Stand up for me. Stand up for me. I want to get some energy in this room. Could you get some oxygen into your lungs just to... Come on, everybody do it. There we go, there we go. Let's do nice big clap, nice big clap, nice big clap. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let's all shake it out. Shake it out. Ah, that feels better. Are we a bit more awake now? There we go. Excellent.